Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. Today's video is Augason Farms 48-hour 4-person kit. Got this a while back at the store, saw it, thought it'd be a good addition to my emergency food supply. The bucket is for 4 people for a period of 48 hours. The lid has a tear tab right here. And you would tear, and where you can see the line at right there, this would peel off, then making these corner pieces where you could peel them upwards and then get the lid off. I was able to get the lid off without having to do that. Took some extra time, but basically, you know, whatever company Augason Farms buys these buckets from, you could buy these buckets and the lids, you just boom, pop into place, and they quote unquote seal on where you're not really supposed to easily get them off until you tear that seal. So that seal is supposed to show you that, you know, this was a sealed bucket. But with some elbow grease and some butter knives, you can pry this thing off. Just keep that in mind. But anyway, there goes the top. Inside the bucket. Now, unlike the other video I did where I opened the bucket and started going through the stuff, I then shot the video later. This one, I got the lid off, have not touched anything inside, so this is going to be first time touching the contents on the inside. So immediately right off the bat, first package in here, and I can still feel it's some type of particulate matter that I felt on the outside. It was very minimal on this one. It wasn't a whole lot, but I did run my fingers across it and I could feel that there was some type of dust or particulate matter on the outside of this pouch, like in the other bucket that I went through. Here we have buttermilk pancakes, and I will note that so far the package with the sticker on it, they're not all crinkled up like they are in the 30-day pail, because I'd imagine that for the 30-day pail they had to stick it in there and kind of push down and get it to fit into crevices. This seems to be more evenly laid out in there. Just looking at it right now. I don't feel the dust on this one, but packaging looks all right. We've got some creamy potato soup. Now this appears to be vacuum sealed. We got elbow macaroni. Here we got maple brown sugar oatmeal. Some more elbow macaroni. And see, here's something on the pouch. Like, I don't know what this is. I just threw it in my hand, whatever was on the pouch. I have no idea what that is. No clue. We'll lay it down right outside the box. But even on this pouch, I felt a little bit of dust kind of stuff. See, there's even something on the outside of this pouch too, right there. I feel a slight layer on this. This is cheese powder. Creamy chicken flavored rice. See, there's something else on this one too. Like, I have no idea what these things are inside this. You see right there. Like, I don't know if like this is from their factory, like they just got a bunch of dust everywhere and like little particulate matters or whatever, but that looks to be, it's hard to say. I'll have to look at this off camera. I have no idea. This looks like fabric of some sort, like, ooh, and it just blew away. Yeah, so, and there's nothing nearby for me to lay this on, but here at the, and I'll try to make it zoom in, but on the tip of my thumb is whatever was on that bag, and it looks like a thread of some sort, so maybe, you know, they're packaging bags, like there's this stuff floating around inside the factory or warehouse where they assemble these things together that gets in there. I have no idea, but these bags don't have a whole lot of that dusty feel on it like that big 30-day bucket did. But you can even see in the bottom of this, there's still like, there's stuff in there. Like, I don't know what this crap is. Literally, I have no idea other than it's just, I mean, it's not dirt, but it's some type of solid material, and it just, I haven't got the slightest clue what it is. It's too small to take a good look at any of it and tell what it is. It's not organic looking. It doesn't seem like it's like food or anything. Like, it really makes me think that wherever they assemble their little buckets at, you know, they probably got like a crap ton of these pouches in bins or something, you know, and then they'll pull however many of these they need to make one of these buckets, and then they'll start processing and, you know, putting things together, and these buckets sit around in some, you know, warehouse, you know, storage kind of looking area, and over time there's just, you know, a bunch of dust that builds up, forklifts drive by, blow debris everywhere, and I kind of think that's maybe what that is. It was more noticed, the powder stuff, which I think is dust, it was more noticeable on the 30-day bucket than this. I could still feel a slight film of stuff on these pouches, but it was very light. So far I've opened up 2 Augason Farm products, and inside the buckets have been quote unquote dirty. I don't know if dirty is a good word for it, because it's not like there's a bunch of filth or anything in there, but there's just like just random debris that, I don't know. If it was me and my company, I would, and I have, this looks like a piece of hair. It is hair. Yeah, someone's hair made it in there. So it's gotta be from where they're packaging these buckets. They're just doing it in a kind of a factory warehouse kind of environment. So yeah, thanks Augason Farms for your random worker's hair in my bucket. It's fucking what else is in there? Yeah, it's just randomness. Anyway, all this food can feed 4 people for 2 days. Or, you know, maybe make it 2 people for a longer period of time, whatever. The side of the box, this particular box was supposedly made in July of 2020, and it is best by June of 2050, is what the box says. Now, on the individual packages, well, this one doesn't have it, but I've seen it on others. Yeah, so like this one, made in June of 20, but best by June of 2050. Put it back in there. Some of them I noticed in a 30-day, yeah, like this one. So this one says made in June of 2020, but best by June of 2030, and this is the cheese powder. There's another random thing on the outside of the package. Like this is, I don't know what that is. That looks almost like rice. Janky. This one made in July of 2020, best by July of 2045. And this is the creamy chicken flavored rice. So some of these have or I won't call them expiration dates, but best by dates that are different than what the box says. So this one's good, or best by 2050, 2045, 2030, some buttermilk pancakes, and maple brown sugar does not have any info on it for some reason. Now, so you saw me open the container and take everything out, and now once I've put everything in, it's not exactly the same as it was when I took it out. I swear, like unpacking these things is just like unpacking one of those little CPR face shields that you can put on your keychain. It's like once you take that thing out, you will never get it back in that little pouch the same way. It just will not fit. So same with this stuff. Like you'll have to play around with it to make sure that it fits in there all evenly and you don't have a bunch of excess piling up through the top, making it hard for you to close the lid on it. But I'll go through here on this one and I'll calculate how many cups of water I'll need to there we go. So this is better packaging. And I'll calculate how much water I'm going to need to reconstitute all the food that's inside the box here. Because just looking at the writings on the side, I don't see anything right off the bat that indicates, hey, for this whole bucket, you need this X amount of water. The only thing it says is just add water, shelf life up to 30 years, 10,910 total calories, total of 55 servings, and it gives you the things that are in there. But no overall water measurement of what you need. To figure out the water, you have to, of course, read the labels on here to see how much water you need to add to the pouch. For example, you know, this one requires 8 cups of water. This one, 5 cups of water. And this is the same thing that I just pulled out. This one is going to require 10 cups of water. And so when you start adding all that up, it literally, pun intended, it adds up. So for example, I went through and I looked at that 30-day bucket in my other video, and it was about 9 gallons of water that I would need to store for just that one bucket to be able to reconstitute the food. So this one, of course, is, you know, way less food or whatever, but you know, it may end up being a few gallons of water that I would need to store just for this bucket alone. And I really wish that they would put that on the outside of the box somehow. That way you would know, hey, if you're going to store this box, you might want to store X amount of gallons of water to go along with it. The box, as I've noted earlier in my other video, you know, the selling point for this is it's going to keep mice and rats, whatever, from getting into it. It's not watertight, airtight. So, you know, if you put it in an area that's prone for, you know, flooding or whatever, moisture is going to get inside there, or what have you. It's basically good. It's good just to keep critters from getting into the pouches. The pouches themselves, if you were to lay this out in the garage, some mice got into the garage, the mice are going to eat through this no problem whatsoever. But inside the bucket, it keeps the mice from getting in there and eating at it. The buckets are stackable. So you could pretend, you know, this was a whole other bucket. You take that and you set it right on top, and it fits inside the top lid perfectly, like Legos. So you could stack a bunch of these on top of each other, put them in your garage, put them down in the basement, line them up against the wall, and just start stacking them up and make a little wall of them. And it comes with a nice little carry handle. And then once you deplete all the pouches inside the bucket, you can then use the bucket for something else. Putting tools in, using it to maybe carry water or something like that. Whatever you would use an empty bucket for, or repurpose for, you could use it. But it's not going to be good enough to keep things completely dry. If you're wanting a box to keep things dry, you're gonna have to find something else, because this is not for it. This is just going to keep mice from eating through the wall. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section. I also want to know if you have some similar experiences with Augason Farms and there being quote unquote dirt on the inside, like random crap like that human hair that I found in there, and then the dust on the pouches and the little stuff that's in there. Or if you've gotten these and there's any holes in them, like my 30-day bucket, first pouch on the top had a hole in it. If you've had those experiences, I really want to hear about them. And I think that other people would want to hear about them too, so that they don't spend money where they maybe should not be spending money. So far, with my first bucket, having a bunch of dust and little stuff inside the bucket, and there being a hole in the bag, and then opening this thing up, and there's crap on the inside as well, and dust. You know, I'm not getting the greatest feeling from Augason Farms on that. As far as the quality of the food on the inside, I have not tasted any of that. I cannot attest to any of that. But just from a cleanliness aspect, they're not ranking very high as far as what's inside the bucket, because I've found a bunch of dirt and dust. Then again, like I said, I think that could be chalked up to where they're being stored at or assembled at. You know, I would suspect that like I said, these pouches are stored somewhere within a factory warehouse setting, and then they just assemble the buckets in a line or something like that, and it's just a bunch of dust or what have you. As far as other companies and seeing the same stuff inside of it, I can't attest to that, but I will be getting another brand of a food bucket and getting it open and seeing what's inside of it and see how much of a difference there is between that brand and this Augason brand. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense, thank you for watching.